This is an old one, but it's funny how it's coming back. I wonder when I wrote it, but it doesn't have a title. How to forgive yourself when with some, it's almost like an apology for your existence is necessary. I'm asking, please someone tell me, how to shed this iron cloak. I try to let it go, drop it to the ground, and run. But then I trip. The cloak falls heavy on top of me, and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It almost seems easier to learn how to walk with it. Each step more impossible than the last. Or, even easier, just let it swallow me whole. This cloak doesn't feel like my own. I didn't make it. I didn't buy it. It was a gift. I tried to return it, explaining this was all a mistake. And then by tenfold, it was heavier. How to forgive yourself when it seems like the only appropriate reaction to every action is guilty. I'm really asking, please can someone tell me? I wrote this when about one of the first big life changes I went through, where I really knew I had disappointed someone, and it felt like I had to apologize, obviously, for being myself and growing in a different direction than what they expected. These audio clips are a bit all over the place, as in timeline-wise. They're from different eras, which feels appropriate that the poem is from so long ago as well. But I thought that was cool how they kind of all still are talking about the same thing. And so don't try to listen to this with a linear narrative. It's starting to really sink in that I'm leaving soon. And we just had dinner with my brother and his wife and my niece and my mom. And with this being like my last week here, or like the beginning of my last week basically, there's a mourning in the air. And every time I leave, I always ask myself, why do I have to do this? And so much of the time, I'm so scared. And I really don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. But I can't imagine doing anything else. This is what I've always wanted to do. It really is so terrifying getting what you want. But what if good things happen? What if good things just keep happening? I already believe that everything that happens is for the best. It's interesting, I noticed today, or I was making the observation today with one of my friends here about how I feel like just the topic of taking up space has been coming up lately, about how that's hard for me, uncomfortable for me a lot of the time. And so I kissed a steward on the ship that I was just on, and I didn't expect to at all. He is shorter than me, which I was surprised about. It feels like an old cliche sort of thing, but I feel like with my attraction to men, or what it's been so far, has been very following the script, because it's a lot easier to do. And also in following the script, I wanted to feel small and like the petite feminine archetype, and so I always wanted a big strong man. I was analyzing that, and kind of when I started having more frequent crushes, I guess, in middle school, and that was when I was heavier and very self-conscious about it. And so it's that was when that started. And I think with being larger physically, I tried to make that as like unnoticeable as possible in a sense. Like I just wanted to blend in and be small in whatever way I could. I feel like that's kind of what I've been doing since then. It's just like feeling comfortable in the shadows and was hiding in the shadows. And now it feels like I'm getting more comfortable taking up space and actually being myself, because before I was trying to do, well, it's people pleasing at its core. You're so scared of being rejected that you will do anything that you think they want you to do without even asking. And I feel like I've been unlearning that process throughout the last few years, giving up on being who someone wants me to, who I think someone wants me to be, not checking with them. I just brushed out my dreadlock that I got from my lover. I asked her to give it to me right before I left for the airport as a way to like mark the time, as a way to like physically show the change in reality, because I felt like I had changed and like I'd done something similar, although a lot more sad, for another lover, and I just brushed it out and it felt really good. It feels really good to just run my fingers through my hair again and not have it get stuck on anything. And it feels good for all of my hair to be the same again and not have some special piece that needs special attention. And I really like my hair the way it is. I don't know why I thought changing it would be a good representation of how much I cared for someone. But now I'm thinking about, is this relief just because the connection is also having a hard time? I might be ending. It is at least changing. Or is it because I was trying to be something I'm not, and now I'm letting go of that in the relationship, including, or like, yeah, in everything, because I've been focusing a lot lately on wanting to own, or just stop feeling so bad about how much space I take up. Like, I feel like it's one of the things that or everything just like leads back to that, every worry, every insecurity. And it's just exhausting. Like, and I don't want to do it anymore. But so much hair came out and it was really dirty, especially near the root. I think that's because I probably didn't get all my conditioner out last night, or probably that's happened a few times. It feels kind of like a weight has been lifted almost, or like you unbuckled your pants at the end of the day, or took your bra off, or get to just wear a sarong around an island, no other clothes, which is my other reality I'm experiencing right now. Yeah, this definitely feels like the prequel to my Saturn return. It feels like, of course, it feels like I'm finally trying to stop worrying about it. Trying to stop worrying about it. I feel like people would think that I have an easy go of it because I do a lot of crazy stuff, but I mean, and I do. I'm very privileged. I'm very lucky. But inside my head is not always the most pleasant place to be, as with anybody. And I feel like I've done so much worrying about being too much or like taking up too much space. And now I'm just like, I am what I am and I take how much space I need. Like, and I feel like I'm doing a good job of expressing my wants and needs than I ever have before, while also still holding on to the grace that I know I want to move with and compassion, because it doesn't feel good to be another way. In the end, it doesn't. Sometimes it feels good to be angry or whatever. I don't feel that very often, but maybe that's why I have bad posture as I sit up straighter. Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like I was trying to... This is the reflection right now. I feel like I was trying to, as I've tried with every relationship, be this cool girl that doesn't get attached and, like, doesn't need anybody, doesn't have wants, doesn't have desires. And I feel like taking out the dread was, like, releasing that knot. Like, in a sense... of like trying to be something I'm not. And it feels like part of the trying to be something I'm not is part of the reasoning that I try to do with myself every time I come home, of why do I have to do this, of can't I just stay? Because none of my family are really travelers or wanderers. They all enjoy traveling, but not like in the way that I do. I'm a bit extreme. And I always try to talk myself out of it, and I always feel guilty for leaving. And I don't know what it is. Like, when I think of reasons to stay, I'm like, but my life isn't here. And it's not anywhere else, but it's not here. And to stay, I would have to be giving up my whole life, be giving up all of my dreams, because I want to explore, because there's nothing else that I really want to do. And I always think, like, or I started thinking this way last year in Africa, because that trip ended up being a lot different than what I thought it would be when I bought the ticket. And part of me, the tired part of me, was like, why even go? But I kept saying to myself, like, obviously this was supposed to happen for me. I was supposed to come here and experience this. And I chose to embrace it as its own experience rather than constantly comparing it to what I expected it to be. Well, not constantly. I still did sometimes, of course. But that went away pretty quickly. And this feels the same. Like, even though I came up with this plan myself, it still feels like this is what I'm supposed to be interacting with. These are my materials for this year. These are the general plot points. And I think about the argument or intense discussion my mom and I get into a lot. She always asks me why I'm doing this when I tell her that I'm scared. The first time we had this conversation was before I went to Italy. And I told her I was scared, and she was like, well, then why do you want to do it? I was like, I just feel like I need to. And this time it's an even bigger why, because she really doesn't want me to go hitchhiking. And so it's an even more emotional discussion. And I just don't have another answer. I don't know why I feel like I need to. Like, these are my next goals. This is what I'm focusing on. And this is the way that I'm gonna do it. This is the how that it seems like makes sense. This is the how that I have available to me right now. And I'm gonna go after what I want. I remember last year when I was leaving Italy, the host drove me to the airport, and I remember I said, you know, when you're about to leave and you're scared, like, because he's traveled a lot as well, I was like, I always think this feeling is gonna go away, and I always think it'll be easier every time, but it's never easier. And he was like, well, yeah, like, when you live life like this, like, your next adventure is always bigger than your last. How do you keep doing that? Good question. Especially at my age, like, this is really, it feels like the time of, you can always do this, but every life has seasons, and it feels like right now, being 28, like, the end of your 20s feels like the time of understanding yourself, feels like the time of finally kind of solidifying into yourself, like having more density, having gravity within yourself. And also, like, it feels like reality is really setting in. It's like, this is your life, you have to live it. And I think so often about what my friend said when I was scared to go to New York. What else are you gonna do? I don't have an answer for that. I know what I want to do. Yeah, like, it feels like a focus. And the Saturn return hasn't even started yet. What if that's the day? Because it's supposed to be May 25th. What if that's the day the boat I find sets sail out of Mexico? What if that's the day we start crossing the Pacific? But also, I feel like with that gravity, with that density of solidifying into yourself, there is such a weight of grief, of choice, of responsibility. Because when you're actively choosing something, it means that inherently you're not choosing something else. Because it's true, like, in any situation, if someone wanted to, they would. But it is best if everyone follows what they know they need to do, their truest desires, because then it makes space for all of us to become more of ourselves and work together more harmoniously. I was just saying this to the woman I sold some furniture to in Austin about how, like, when I am out living my life, it's a beautiful, absolutely magical, insane adventure. Like, and I am well aware of how amazing it is. It's also a normal life. Like, so there's laundry days and sick days and everything like that. Malaria. But there's also, I know that because I'm choosing this, because I'm focusing on this, I'm not choosing other things. Like, I'm not getting as much time with my family. I'm not growing roots. I'm not starting a family. And I still have time for all of those things. But it's just like I know. I mean, it's also kind of like if it hasn't come up organically, like everything in my life has kind of, everything that I've so loved has kind of found me right when I needed it. And so far, any chance of getting pregnant? No. Any long-term relationship? No. Doesn't seem to be part of this plot right now. There is big thunderstorms happening outside right now. With big lightning, big thunder. It's been really nice to be home for a Texas thunderstorm season. I had the thought earlier last year before the South Pacific and before Africa and after the boat, like between the boat on my flights, on my layovers. I had a layover in Seattle, and that I feel like Seattle is like the city that I first learned to appreciate feeling anonymous. And it was like last time I went back to where I learned anonymity before that big adventure and kind of finally learned how to be comfortable and confident in myself. And now this time I went like back to the womb, back to my mother's house to completely be reborn, hopefully. I've also seen someone describe growing up as just actually taking responsibility for your space and saying how a lot of people don't grow up because of that. The way that first comes to mind kind of is like doing the same thing you've always done because it's what you've always done. That being the only reason, not because it brings you joy, not because it's for something. Just living unconsciously. That's really not taking responsibility for your life, because then you're not actually making any choices that lead to decisions, the ways of changing your life. And if you're living your life consciously, you will need to change it, I think, especially around this time of life. It seems like the Saturn return of it all. Saturn is the planet of discipline, of responsibility. And this responsibility of choice, responsibility of being yourself, because it helps everybody else, I feel like is one of the harder duties of the human experience, more difficult duties of the human experience. I mean, you can still have a self, obviously, if you're not living insanely. Insanely isn't like me, but also everybody's life. Everybody's life does have choices. Everybody's life experiences change, experiences loss. It's really hard to, or it's not easy to be yourself when you disappoint people. But you can't disappoint yourself. It's more important to not disappoint yourself. It's a funny kind of heartbreak. Respecting yourself but disappointing someone else. It's a funny kind of heartbreak. I think maybe, I mean, with anything, the balance will be found. But I feel like I wonder if the heartbreak of disappointing someone else starts to equalize. Because, I mean, I've experienced this on the being disappointed end. Someone following what they want and it really disappointing me. But then I became all the better for it from their decision. That really hurt my feelings. And now I'm so much more myself. I couldn't imagine my life a different way. I like the way it's turned out. I like the opportunities I've had because of that choice they made that was disappointing to me. But it was true to their journey. I feel like it all starts to equalize the balance will balance. Again. It all comes back to that. Always. Wrapping up, I offer tarot card readings online. I offer a Saturn return rundown that's happening now for anybody who's near my age, which some of you are if the Spotify the audience information is correct. And so it'll tell you everything you need to look into, or if you don't want to purchase something from me, which is fine, go to the Chani app, because she has a deal right now, and that shit's insane. It's so good. Well, I hope she still has the deal. Either way, if you can get a free trial. It has so much information, and it's said so well. It feels like it's like the Zodiac version of what I like about human design. Like, it's just encouraging you to be yourself and honest about having a self and having it not being a bad thing. Not having anything necessarily being a bad thing. It's just like, okay, this is what you have and this is how you can work with it. And I like that mindset. And so, yeah, then I'm thinking about also opening up or adding a, perhaps, like if you want to look at your life and workshop it and have an outside perspective of like a really low stakes hangout over Zoom where we talk about your life in a very functional way. If you have a goal or something like that, yeah, I think I'll add that to my website. And then I have collages online for sale. They're really sweet. They're really cheap. They're really cute. It's collages of a lot of photos from my travels. So if you want a little postcard created by me from around the world, around the world literally, go have at it. We always have a lot of options. There are always many options for support when you're going after what you want. And I believe in us. We got this, guys. Much love. Dulces sueños.